Okay, now this is one where I didn't see what happened, and you didn't see what happened, and because you weren't there.
Yeah, I just heard it so many times.
For years, I'd always ask Kevin and Kenny to come down together, which is my son-in-laws, of course.
My brother-in-laws.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we would go down there, and they finally went one year, and they were in a boat together. And we were all fishing there from the dam back down the river. That's when we was up towards the dam. Then we'd go down and then come back, and then go down and come back. And the fishing just wasn't really great that year. And so they went on down the river because we wasn't catching them right up by the dam like we were doing and stuff like that. But a few of us were, and some, that's when Ron Austin was coming and a bunch of other guys that from up here. There was more from Kansas City than there was from Oklahoma down there at that time. And so we ended up, they went on down, Kevin and Kenny went down the river, and we didn't see them for a long time, and finally they come back up about the time we was all ready to get out and everything else. And so we all went over there, and we caught a few in our boat, Padley and myself, and Ron had caught some, and we had a real nice one. The worst thing that happened on there was that Padley caught probably the biggest crappie we ever caught in our life down there, and I'll bet it was about 15 inches long, and he had it over the side of the boat, and he was going to put his thumb in his mouth, and it fell right out. The hook came right out, and the big old crappie just dropped right down in the water and took off. And I never let him live that down. And but when Kenny and Kevin come in, and everybody said, "How many fish you got?" And they said, "We didn't catch any." Kevin said, "No, but I caught a bird." And I think what he'd done is he'd thrown his hook out there or something like that, and there was one of those water birds.
Yeah, I think it was one of the, if I remember the story right, it was one of the bigger, like herons or cranes or something like that.
Yeah, some kind of crane. I don't know if it was a blue heron they called them down there. And they only spell it with one R instead of two.
Yeah.
And he said that thing hooked the wing, and then they had to get that thing off of there, and then they put net on it or something because it was biting like, it was picking up and everything else. And that, made it interesting. And then Kenny said, "Well, I caught this here," and he pulled up, and there was a brake clutch off of a car, and he'd hooked onto it, thought he had a great big old fish, and he had fought that thing, got all the way in. It was a brake clutch.
Oh, wow.
And so
that's hilarious.
That was his big catch of the day.
I mean, we used to talk about catching rock bass, which was just a joke. And then we used to we'd catch, log bass.
Yeah.
We caught just about every kind of thing you could imagine, but I've never caught a bird.
No.
And I've never caught a brake clutch. They got me beat on both of those counts.
Yeah, that was everybody got tickled at that one.
Yeah.
I mean, they just couldn't believe it. And he had it. He kept it. He had it in the boat to show everybody what he caught.
That's crazy.
But that was just the one. That was the only time they ever went.
Yeah.
They never did go again.
No wonder. Only caught a bird in a clutch.